get to all along, and they might not feel fulfilled. I say, I mean, ain't this what you wanted? And I'm telling you, from everybody from Tupac to, I mean, the legends, man. And I would look at them when they were shorties, and I said, man, this is what you want to do. You want to be able to put an aura in your audience, and your aura in your audience, whether it's recording, whether it's live in person, whether it's really what you believe in, it's going. You got to make it like, damn, I can't do that shit like he do it or she do it. And this is one of the reasons why crews and groups and collectives, they placed a big gap between them and the audience, and they made the audience say, "Damn, I love that shit. I can't do it, but I love that shit." I mean, it's just like the ball, like ball. We could talk all the shit we want to say about the NBA and how this player sucks and how this ain't that, but the closer you get to the court, if you're able to get to that court, you gotta dig in your pocket, and then you realize how tall and how big they are, and you realize that you ain't them. And it used to be like that for entertainment too. So I just think that it's the sky's the limit, and just continue like to raise the bar. And if people don't tend to be like impressed, understand you do art based on your inner bone marrow. What satisfied? What makes you say, that shit was good? Because it got to start from yourself. That's my only opinion. I'm sorry.
Chuck,
Yeah, I'm sorry if I can't
nah,
hang
Chuck.
on for a long time because I did have a business call, but damn, I wish I could hang around for long. But I appreciate y'all.
Nah, I appreciate you. I had a question, but if you got to
No,
get to
no,
that
no. Go
call,
ahead.
that's
I'll answer
cool.
quick.
My question was like a lot of cats my age
What's your
that,
age?
you know, I'm in my mid
Okay.
30s, and even just so like Real Sicken is in here. He's a battle
Yep.
rapper, and
I
he's
played.
he's making his way.
I played this stuff on
He's
Rap
20.
Station. Yep.
Nice. He's 26, 27.
Appreciate
Yep.
that.
So we like a lot of cats that are like sort of like they see the corporatization of everything. They love the culture, they love the art form, they love what they're doing. I'm okay with what I'm doing because I found a little pocket that I'm comfortable with, that I'm happy with. I'm okay. You know what I mean? I come from the school of thought. I come right underneath the motor technique shit and everything underneath that. And I was like, all right, I'm going to grab whoever I grab and I'm fine with it. I can make a living off this. I'm satisfied. But there's a lot of cats like in my age range, a little bit younger, within 8 to 9 years, that they see the whole corporatization of it. What do you say to the ones that sort of see how it's being sort of like commodified, and it kind of tears away at their soul, and they don't know how to channel like their purpose from within versus being conditioned by like the corporatization and the machinations of all that.
Yeah, Bruce Lee said it best. He said, "I can't teach you, but I'm only here to help you explore yourself." I think every artist has to be able to look into themselves and say, "Well, this is what I'm doing it for." Everybody got art in them, but everybody can't get the art outside of themselves. And sometimes might need study and what it is that you're doing. You might need coaching. I don't think that a lot of cats in rap and hip hop over the years have had proper coaching, and the coaching might not come from a rapper. It might not come from anybody that's in the genre, so to speak. I mean, the stage is still a stage. When you hit a stage, if you're able to sit a stage, to hit a stage, pardon me, it's like you at the stage and a bunch of people looking at you. You got to make sure that you leave that spot and make them say, "Damn," or like, "Okay, keep going." But I just think you got to set your own goals. I mean, asking everybody for approval for your art sometimes is like going outside into the street and asking people, "How do I look?" I mean, especially not these days, man. You can't ask nobody how you look. You got to go to your mirror and then go outside and be confident with that. And the same thing, it's like I think that when somebody is 30 in their mid 30s and mid 40s, what they do is they have the ability to get more diverse and then pick up different topics. There's no way in hell is a 15-year-old to me going to understand what a 43-year-old MC going to do, and even vice versa. So it's categories, man. We got to look at this like maybe like golf. The golf had the senior circuit. You never saw like back in the day Jack Nicklaus play with Tiger Wolf. I mean Tiger Woods. So I think categories, organization, administration has to set it, and I guess that's where corporations come in, when cats who are able to make structures, but often in the past they would make a structure and then run off to the woods with all the spoils. I mean, it's a balance, and I think with hip hop and rap music, has not been able to do outside of the art is provide a balance so cats could go to the well or cats could go to the pond or to the lake and know that they always could get fish without somebody gutting out the damn lake or eco cleansing the whole damn mount what they call it what they call it, strip mining. You strip mine the whole mountain where maybe a thousand MCs could eat. Now only three ate, and 997 got a desert on their hands. So we could do better with organizing, and this is what classic rock has done in rock and roll. They don't look for approval outside of the genre. They do what they do. I mean, I played I played in front of 5 million people the last 6 years. So and we would play with a rock group, a rock rap group called Prophets of Rage. It was a combination of Rage Against the Machine, Public Enemy, and Cypress Hill. And we go up there, we play in front of about 70,000 people, man. But come to find out, we on a festival, and they said, yeah, Iron Maiden was here the last 2 dates, and they put 75,000 each night into the stadium.
Right.
A quiet 150,000 fanatics. So if you had to put Iron Maiden on a list of the top rock groups of all time, I don't even think they would even crack the top 20. They really don't care about somebody else's approval of what people think. They just keep going forward. And I just think our confidence is the thing that's going to bode us well. I would also say that women, since it's Women's History Month, women are involved in hip hop when you talk around the world, 25% of the game. So they don't look to let's say what hits the charts in the United States or what hits this particular branding situation to give us our charting categories. I think we got to be able to create our own spaces and make the corporations surrounded adhere to that. So I think the sky's the limit. Me and my old ass, if I'm 61, what do you think I like to see? I like to maybe go to a spot, maybe 10,000 deep, sometimes 500 deep, and sit my ass down and be like, yo, I left after 5 hours. That shit was dope. I don't want to go to a spot. I mean, I do that when I go to a basketball game, and I'm sitting next to some dude that played like 30 years ago, and he goes to a basketball game and is able to scream about Ja Morant. And they come out of there like, yo, I ain't never seen that before. Well, we could do the same thing, but it also takes a lot of people in a lot of areas. So sky's the limit, y'all, and I really appreciate y'all doing what you're doing.
Chuck, I want to thank you because I got to tell G Rap this personally, but I'll tell you this: like the fact that I get to perform in front of people and talk about that, and spit shit that's anti-establishment and sort of anti-status quo and go at the shit that I'm going at is because you laid the footprints that you laid for a lot of us. There's a lot of cats that are counterculture, anti-political artists speaking on rights. Real Sick here spoke on the farmers' protests when of a bunch of political issues that were going down in South Asia, and it's still going down. And
Mm-hmm.
he had a moment where a lot of people from South Asia were really like, "Wow, he used this rap format to talk about what's happening with his people." And my man Ilmax here, he's done albums and projects, and my man XL's here, he's done projects and rapped in front of people and spit anti-political, anti-establishment stuff and talked about the shit that sort of like trying to make people connected to things that they're not really connected to. And we owe a lot of that to you. I've never been able to tell you that personally. I met you once with my brother Mototech. We didn't really get to have a convo. You're who you are. So it's a lot of
Nah,
people
man, you
your
could
way.
have just slapped me in the head, be like, "Yo, talk to me, OG."
Nah, but you laid the footprint. There's people here right now. Me,
Mm-hmm.
Real Sick, XL, my
Mm-hmm.
man Ilmac. There's people here right now that we've all taken risk and made like we social commentary on a level that when you was doing it, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was
Yeah.
there was advertisers that were backing away. I know what it cost you. Cats like Coogee Rap and the OGs would tell me the risk you
It
took.
did cost me nothing because understand, I think I was one of the first. If only remember Rick Rubin. If you didn't read about it, now you know. Rick Rubin hunted me down for 2 years. I didn't want to do records in 1984 or 85. He hunted me down. He said, "Listen, man, my goal is to get you to do records," and then I put something together, and we came in as Public Enemy. So I already came in as a grown man in 1984, 85, 86, and they made me an offer that I thought that I could build upon. And here's another thing about the social commentary. Listen, I just feel that cats could reach deeper, and they are. They are. You'll find a 35, let's say a 30-year-old MC that wants to go deeper on their topics, and that don't mean deeper like it's got to make people shake their head try to figure it out. I mean, like even if a cat came along and talk about maybe how we got to reduce the size of the rats that grew during the pandemic in the city who's in the subways. I mean, shit like that, man. It could somebody a MC and a songwriter has the ability to make a song out of anything. So I just think that instead of the same old thing or to recycle the 8 million street stories just so you could get somebody who might want to get street legitimized or credit by listening and relating. I just think, man, sometimes you might have a cat just talk about, though, yo, man, I'm allergic to to shrimp in my food and shit like that, and then pop two verses on it. I mean, as opposed to somebody that's giving you a story that like was heard in 94, 98, 2001, 2005. But life is subjective, so people are going to turn 15 to 18. People turn to 21 every day, every year. So discovery is the new thing for everybody. It don't mean it's new because you never knew. So that's why I always feel that MCs could actually widen the gap. Who says every song got to be like 4 minutes? Sometimes a song, if the cats could be like, you know what, I made an album full of 10 joints and they were all clocking at 59 seconds. That's a difficult thing to do, but the difficulty is what makes people go, "What the fuck?" So I just think that the sky's the limit, but we haven't even touched the sky yet as far as the shit that makes you mind-boggling. Everybody, I think everybody on here follows ball, right? To a certain degree, basketball, NBA at least, right? Remember what they were saying like last week about the slam dunk contest? Remember
Yeah,
what
they
they were
went.
saying? They were
Yeah,
like saying it was the worst slam dunk contest ever because we seen it before. And
everything.
it's
Yeah,
only but so much that a human body gonna be able to do. Now, if somebody took off and they stayed in the air for 8 seconds and stood there frozen like some frozen air Jesus, right? Cats would be like, "Oh, you see that shit? That shit blew my fucking brains out." This is where hip hop and rap is always at. It's like, yo, if they heard and seen it before, you got two advantages. One, people who was there back in the day probably wasn't born yet, so you could bring something to them that they ain't never seen before, instead of just the topic. And number two, you got a bigger audience worldwide that get it. So I just think the sky's the limit. We ain't touched the sky yet, but if we're looking for approval and you're looking for ways to get people to be like, "Oh, yo, that shit is dope," and you're looking for that approval more than your soul approving it and getting it out. Because look, it ain't like 30 years ago where you had to get a purchase order to go up in the studio. Cats is making shit on their fucking phone now. So does that mean that shit is whack? No, it just means that you gotta do your best to manage it. You ain't gonna master the apps or whatever, but you can manage it to the point you come up out of there and it be like glass. It's a little bit of an obstacle today because people today they listen with their eyes, so they gotta see before they hear, and sometimes they got to see equal with what they hear because if they can't see it, they ain't gonna pick it up. And I mean that. I mean even up for a 35-year-old on down, they gotta see something, because people hear things differently. Back in the day, that's all you had was your hearing, and your hearing went into your mind, and then you processed it different. Your imagination clicked in. Today, people are sold their imaginations. They're given imagination, and you can't top it. Artificial intelligence is not gonna get dumber, y'all. So they're going to figure out a way to master or go at mastering things. So the best thing you could do is manage your skill set, manage your art. And one beauty that we have as human beings, we got the advantage to make beautiful accidents. That's what a machine can't fucking do. And if we're able to figure these out and go around these obstacles as a collective, you're gonna see some beautiful art come out of it. Also, I would like to say this: it is the arts, so it behooves you that you study the arts. It behooves you that you study music. Then you'll know that you ain't doing this shit for the first time.
bro.
Right.
I think I speak for everybody here. Yo, thank you for these jewels.
Yeah.
Dead ass. Thank you
Yeah.
for these jewels, man.
Yeah.
You know, Brother Ali said a comment to me one time. He said, sometimes your idols disappoint you. You've
Mm.
never disappointed anybody who's ever been around you, man. Your humility and the way you bless everybody and treat everybody, man. Thank you. Thank you for your words and you know what I mean, and gracing us with your presence, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'll step to the side right now. Appreciate y'all and thank you for letting me on.
Thank you.
Peace, y'all. Thank you.
Ah,
Thank you,
thank
bro.
you, Chuck.
Word.
Peace.
Appreciate it.
Excel, I dare you follow that. Go ahead.
I can. What you?
Go ahead, Excel.
How you follow Chuck D? How you do that? You
Come on with
can't.
some multi-syllabic Jews. Come
Nah,
on.
that
You
was no
got
syllabics. That was no syllabics right there. That was all factual, actual
well.
factual.
Well, here's what I will say. Thank you for everybody for
Definitely,
tuning in.
definitely got Jew. Definitely got Jews from that. The everybody got art inside them, but not everybody could like express it or however he said it.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, and also like, talking about like the machine and the way that we can stay ahead of it in a certain way. Like there's certain things that it can't predict and all of that. I like that he was
Right.
touching on that as well. And you know what's funny is like sometimes you meet people like I remember seeing a video with Jimi Hendrix and like somebody was trying to tell him how great of a guitarist he was and he got shook it off and he was like, I'm just the best guitarist on this chair. Like he didn't want to hear how great he was. I literally tried to give him his flowers. He's like, man, I didn't take no, I didn't do anything. It's just like, but he literally laid down the footprints for so many of us, especially that was in the room at the same time, which I thought was interesting. Like a
Yeah,
lot of, you know what I mean?
yeah. I thought. Well, I didn't even know. I looked down. It's like, is Chuck fucking D in here? And then, sure enough, Chuck came in, gave
Yeah,
niggas some jewels.
yeah. Sick noticed it too. Sick called it out. Sick was like, yo, Chuck's in here.
Yeah, I was like, is that Chuck D? That's crazy.
Is that Chuck D? Chuck D? Like,
I think we were all thinking the same thing, and then he just said it.
What if you like, nah, I'm this battle rapper from Philly, man. I
like
got
you
the
gotta
same.
get out of here.
I'm a different Chuck D.
You have to be
What,
removed
I
immediately.
know, I know he follows me. Does he follow you too, Sick? Because I don't know if that's how he found this room.
Nah, I don't think he followed me. He said he knew me. That's wild, bro.
That's
That's
that's that's
crazy.
crazy. That's
Everybody knows
crazy,
you sick. You lit. Nigga, what you talking about?
My day is fulfilled.
They love the syllabics. Sick. I'm
bro.
telling
You started bragging about Chris Brown 2 hours ago, and now you can brag
Yeah,
about Chuck D.
Chuck D
Chris
is
Brown,
come on.
Chuck.
Chuck D is like different though. Like that's hip hop. That's like you said, one of the forefathers of that social commentary shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, I
Um,
love, I love how he wouldn't take the flowers, but like he really is the. I don't even know where to start before him, like the way he did it. So it's pretty interesting.
yeah.
Chuck D is the
Clinton had his hand up. I brought him up here. What's up, Clinton?
I just want to say that Chuck D for me is the GOAT. Like, and that's it. Like, there's nobody that's at the same level of Chuck, and it's been that way my whole life. And I think the thing that's so cool about PE in particular, and I know today's kids are like, oh, that's old school or whatever, but for me, the thing that was so great about PE and about Chuck D was that, yeah, he had these really cool social commentary lyrics, which were incredibly important. But he was able to mix that with just some incredible rhythm, incredible frequencies, just awesome beats, and and when I look back on it, like it wasn't that he wasn't. It's not that he just wasn't one of the original rappers, but he was the guy that found some. And I don't even know if he knows why or how, but like a white kid like me growing up in the '80s who'd never heard of rap music ever, and then I went to a Public Enemy concert like in 1989. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, and coming out of that and thinking this is absolutely incredible. So like he opened up the genre to like an entire new audience of people, like not just, traditional black listeners, but like all kinds of white people embrace PE at the same time. So like he really is the GOAT of all time. And just I just want to say thank you for having him share some of his thoughts. um about sort of what it's like to succeed in life, because these aren't just lessons about rap music. Really, like if you listen to him carefully, Chuck D is a mentor, like to a whole generation of people, because those lessons that he talked about can be applied to business, they can be applied to entertainment, they can be applied to sports. Like it cuts across everything. So if you're out there and you can hear, if you can hear me, Chuck D, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm just going to place myself on mute, and I'll let other people jump up now.
Yeah, and Clinton, my bad. I saw you DM me. I didn't see it. It came in my request, but it was mad unexpected. Like Chuck follows me, but I didn't even know he was in here till Sick mentioned it. And I think he just saw the title of Spaces. I think he was just like, I think this was complete accidental. I just DM'd him now. He hit me back. I thanked him. I would love to do more of these to where brothers like myself and you know the younger cats who are doing what we're doing could kind of like, you know, keep taking in the jewels, because that was
That
you
was
know, I love
needed.
that.
And something else too, like a lot of these, like I got like kids. My kids are grown up now, but like the younger kids, like let's say the under, not kids but adults, like say the under 20 age group, you know, the teenagers up to 20 years old, check out some of PE's recent new music that they've done over the last number of years, because um, it's still social commentary, like especially Do You See What I See? Just an awesome song, and they're still doing it. And Chuck, you still have the voice, you still got the lyrics, you know, you still got the beats, and like just don't retire. Keep doing what you're doing, please. Anyways, I'll put myself on mute. Thank you.
Go ahead, Nino.
Oh, my bad. I was about to tweet something. I wanted to add him and shit. Thank him for doing it. Yeah, I'm about to. I don't even know how the fuck you follow this up, man. It's just crazy.
We were just talking about bullshit too. We was just bullshit.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck we was talking
We were
about. He
talking
can't.
about syllabics, and he came in here and switched up the energy. You know what I'm saying?
And all of us cut the shit so quick.
Immediately, when OG step in the room, you gotta just shut the fuck up, man.
Yo, we didn't want to talk about no
You
more
know me,
daylight.
I'm with shenanigans all day long. When OG coming around, you gotta just nope.
He probably lets a little like bigger stage. What is that? Like, what are they
Yeah,
talking about?
bigger.
Like, that shit was.
Like having Chuck D giving advice about music is like being at the basketball court out on the street somewhere and Michael Jordan, you know, saying, "Hey, let's play some b-ball." Like, I mean, that Chuck D really is the GOAT. So it's amazing. Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you for listening. What up, Jazz? How you doing? That was interesting, huh, Jazz?
Yeah, it was. I was like, whoa, what? Like, at first, I thought it was gonna be like a non-serious like room because you always host those. And then I was like, whoa, this is super serious. And I thought it was really dope when he said that we make beautiful mistakes, and that's something that I apply in my photography work. So I think it's super dope that he mentioned that, and that, you know, computers and AI is not everything. So
Real Six thinking about what rhymes with beautiful
Yo,
mistakes right now.
Nino, you jumped in your interviewer bag in 0.7 seconds. Yo, you's a beast. Well, as soon as Chuck started talking, he was like, "Hold up, yo, what you think about bar?" I was like, "Oh, Nino, yeah."
Well, one of the things
It's like Excel said, like when an OG's talking, everybody's just soaking in game. Like that's how I was raised, at least. You know what I mean? It felt like a bunch of badass kids playing around, and then
And
an
then the
adult
OG
walks
came, and then your
downstairs.
grandfather came in the room, and you like,
Yeah.
"Fuck."
Yo, but did you know? But did you notice something that happened? And only the higher spirits of hip hop could do something like this. Like only the hip hop guys could do this. You couldn't find that many more, especially within our group, all the conscious brothers who did the content that he kind of laid the footprints for. You know what I mean? Like X, the shit you've done. Six moment. Ilmax touched on a lot of shit with drones and bombings, and he's done it overseas. He's rapped that shit in England and in Australia and so on and so forth. The shit I do. We was all in here, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like you literally got a bunch of dudes who are like offsprings of the shit he, you know what I mean? Like he sort of laid the
I'm trying,
footprints down for it. I thought that
I'm
was
trying to
trippy,
get
and I
mine
wanted him to know
right.
that.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to get mine right.
Check out Chuck's lyric where he says telescopes in outer space, microscopes in your inner space.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah, I know
is
that, bro.
it's just so powerful.
Yeah. Chuck's that dude, man. Chuck's that dude. I love, I'm gonna repeat this. It's funny to me because sometimes you can meet idols and they let you down. Like I done been with dudes try to give them their flowers and they just kind of like, Brother Ali told me this funny story about one of the forefathers in his group. I don't want to put Ali out there like that, but it was like just a disappointing interaction. And I seen a couple of other artists that I've been around and I've seen interactions. And like I said, I met him one time and I didn't even get a chance to really say nothing to him. I mean, I said what's up, yada yada
Yeah,
yada.
that
But
happened to me with Rakim. I met Rakim one time. I dapped him up, but I ain't really get to chop it up with him. And Rakim is like a mystical figure anyway. Like you don't see that nigga every 20 years. You know what I'm
that must have been weird, right? And you kind of want to say something, but you also don't want
saying?
to intervene, right? You
I
don't
don't
want to
want
be
to.
that guy.
Yeah, I didn't want to bother him. I didn't want to be that dude, but I definitely dapped him up. You know what I'm saying? Chop. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to be that guy. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it took me like I told Real Sick the story. I saw Black Thought in the airport. And it took me like 20 minutes. Like I was like, if he like my flight was like in an hour and a half, and then I was like 20 minutes just staring him down like he was a hot chick across the airport. Just like I was just like staring him down from across the whole other side. And I said okay, I gave myself like a clock. Like I started building my heart for it, and I was like, okay, if he doesn't leave from that seat in 20 minutes, I'm gonna walk up to him. And it was like 20 minutes passed and I still got nervous and I finally walked up to him. But yeah, you don't want to be that person. You don't want to take from their space and you understand what it
Right.
is. But it was
They're humans. They're human beings too. At the end of the day,
I was gonna say they're also humans.
man, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Don't want to run down. But I met mad people. Obviously, and sometimes you just don't want to say shit to them. You know what I'm saying? But the weird thing about doing battle rap, like you never know who's a fan of you. Like, never. You know?
100%. I feel bad for anybody who like looks at Real Sick the way we look at Chuck because this motherfucker is built like a tank and nobody's going to want to say none to him.
Nah.
I just want to tell you, bro, I appreciate what y'all doing in here. You know, this is dope. I'm so hip hop. I love what you did for hip hop. I love that Chuck D was in here. He said what he said, inspirational. I grew up listening to him. Dope brother, always talked about the realness of what was going on in the world at the time when people were scared to talk about it. He wasn't, and and his demeanor is what always struck me. Even with him and Flavor Flav with the whole clock thing and everything, even though Flavor Flav wasn't the rapper guy, he was the ad lib background guy. He made the sound for it, and that's what kind of draws a lot of people to hip hop is that abstractness. So I like what y'all doing in here, man. I'm definitely gonna be dropping by, listening. And for those who don't know me, my name is Seymour Blunts. I'm a hip hop artist myself. Out of Staten Island, New York, and yeah, man. I like what y'all doing, man. I love the platform. I'm gonna make sure I follow all you guys and make sure I chime in on some of these conversations.
Appreciate you
Salute,
for
bro.
tuning in, man. That ass, man. Appreciate you a lot, man. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, man. I don't even know how you follow this. Thank you guys. Chuck came in and I got so nervous talking to him, even though I put on my interview bag like X said. I said brace yourself instead of graced. Like I was just like it's like kind of I was like, oh, well, brace and I didn't even know what to say to the dude. But it was pretty dope just to really get his take on what's happening currently and with the plight that some artists have to deal with as far as like their creativity versus how to monetize versus public perception versus how the world is looking at them and so on and so forth. And he gave like I wasn't shocked at what Chuck D had to say. My favorite part of the whole thing was I tried to give him his flowers and he didn't even want to inhale them because the most humble OGs like that are just like like I'm just a vessel. Don't worry about me. And I love people like that. For me, like my favorite idols that I've met in my life are always the ones. I don't know why they share that commonality where they kind of just like, man, I ain't doing much, man. Don't worry. I just did my part. That's all I did. I love people like that. Is the people like that I like to look up to. So shout outs to Chuck. He's never let anyone down that I know who's met him. My man Immortal Tech told me he's one of the best people he's ever met, both on record and off record, and he's a really good guy. I'm not shocked by anything. Thank you for everybody for joining. I'm gonna close the room, man. Thank you guys for sticking around and taking part of the conversation. Appreciate you guys.
Bye, Hector.